You're listening to DraftKings Network.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Science has shown that you have to actually be asleep to truly evaluate the quality of a mattress. Assuming you don't want to spend the night in a mattress store, we've got the next best thing. Bed Match at Mattress Warehouse. Bed Match is our exclusive diagnostic system that recommends the mattresses that are right for you. Say goodbye to mattress shopping guesswork and hello to your best night's sleep ever in your own house. And hello, low prices guaranteed for 1 full year. Mattress Warehouse.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
We have a lot to get to today. The Panthers, they start their pursuit for the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow night in Sunrise. We have NBA Finals Game 1, Dan Hurley, a lot to get to. But we start the most obvious of places today, the red clay of Roland Garros. Mike is going crazy because Sinner is up 4-1 on Alcaraz. Do you have a bet on this? I mean...
No. I know that's shocking to a lot of people in our audience.
Okay.
I just love Roland Garros.
Yeah,
it's
great.
I love the fuzzy green ball, as you know.
Yes.
And I was really excited about this semifinal. And Jannik Sinner has come out with his hair on fire.
Yes.
He went up 4-0, broke Alcaraz twice.
Right.
And so...
Why are you saying it like that?
That's the way you're supposed to.
Right.
I know a lot of you'll probably call him a prison in the Bay Area before long, but I was really excited for this match. I was not prepared, and clearly neither was Alcaraz for what Jannik Sinner had up his sleeve.
Yeah. I mean, Alcatraz has to know that Sinner's pretty good, right? I mean, Sinner's won a major before. Sinner's been in semifinals before. Like, this is not new to Sinner, unlike the Dallas Mavericks.
What about that last night?
Oh.
They did give us one fleeting moment of Ben Roethlisberger, GIFs, but that was really tough to watch. And Kristaps Porzingis, I don't know what the odds are right now. Let's check DraftKings Sportsbook.
On Finals MVP?
Yeah, and I know Dan, credit to Dan. He was touting how important Staps was to that team. I know defensively he meant a lot to that team, and I know he could contribute offensively in big ways, but maybe it's because I haven't been watching day in and day out with the sound on. I was not prepared for him to come out like that. He came out like Jannik Sinner.
He was great, but let's be clear, the Celtics got here. I don't think he's played since April 29th, Porzingis, and so that's a long break.
Yeah, usually those injured guys in the finals that try to come back off an injury,
it takes a minute. Yes, it does. It usually does, but I guess what I'm saying here, Mike, is the Celtics got to the finals without Porzingis. And as good as Porzingis played last night, they had 6 guys at double figures. Doncic was terrible on defense. Kyrie was awful. The Celtics, man, they're historically good, and it seems like no one is recognizing that. Like, there was a stat from last night's game that they are 46-4 when they have a 17-point lead. The fact that they played 50 games in the regular season where they had a 17-point lead is amazing.
Let's slow down though, because they've had a lot.
The series is over.
They've had a lot of good game ones and then lose game 2. Like if
the Mavericks have lost every game 1 and then come back to win game 2.
That's what I'm saying. If this is a split, you're still feeling good about this for Dallas. I'm not saying this is over yet. Obviously, last night was impressive, and Kristaps was impressive, but not over yet.
Well,
I said it.
We talked about Porzingis, and the reason why it's usually a struggle for these guys coming back after a longer-term injury is their team needs them. And so they feel the pressure of having to return. Kristaps Porzingis last night was really like the charmed existence of the Boston Celtics throughout this playoff run come to life.
Yes.
Because they did not have to rush him back against the Indiana Pacers.
They're loaded.
Yeah, well, they've run every single opponent that they've run into, their best player has been hurt. So it's not like they've really, truly been tested. They were tested some in that Indiana series in that the games were all close. There were 3 games in which Indiana had a plus 90% win probability in, and they found a way to sweep them away. But Porzingis looked really fresh for a dude that's been hurt for a while.
Yeah.
What's amazing about the Celtics is there's part of me where they remind me of the 2004 Pistons, except every single player is more talented. Like where 1 through 5, every single guy is capable of going and getting 20. Every single guy is capable of playing defense against your best player.
Porzingis is a better Rasheed Wallace.
Oh, I would not say that.
When he's healthy, I mean.
No.
Rasheed Wallace
Al Horford
is
is?
Nope. But even then, being able to play Porzingis now just even 20 minutes helps Al Horford not be overexposed, because what was happening in the previous series was when he was having to play too many minutes, he was eventually slowing down defensively. Now, all of these guys, their big man rotation, they're fresh, and all of them are able to do different things. The thing that Porzingis brings that Horford can't offensively is he's not just taking threes. He's taking threes from 30 feet, which is stretching that Mavericks defense in a way that it makes it almost impossible for them. And the difference for the Mavericks defensively in this series against Boston that they didn't have to account for against Minnesota is they've got Drew Holiday in the dunker spot, which is essentially right next to the rim, which means that after pick and rolls that Boston is running, they're not having to go up against a long defender for the Dallas Mavericks in Lively or Gafford, who's down there guarding Gobert or Towns. They're going up against Kyrie at the rim, and it's creating so many opportunities for Boston on offense as a team that could shoot the 3 this way. They're a perfect team. What we'll see is if the Mavericks can get them down to close games in the final 5 minutes, because that's been the one weakness forever.
This coaching matchup isn't exactly Spo v Pop. So I don't have a lot of eggs in the can Jason Kidd figure this out basket. I think the Mavericks. I also know the Mavericks' history this postseason, and I'm aware that the Celtics will do this. You'll think the series is over, and then they'll rest on their laurels a little bit. But if I give you out of these Western Conference teams, Denver, Minnesota, Dallas, I would say Dallas is probably least equipped to give the Boston Celtics trouble.
No matter what he does the rest of his career, will Jason Kidd ever have a better coaching moment than when he spilled a soda on the floor because he was out
absolutely
of timeouts
not.
to delay a game?
That's his moment.
I feel like that was it. Like he peaked there.
Right.
And I would argue, like, is he in the Hall of Fame as a player?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd was a great player.
Can he go in again as a coach?
He's one of the few in the Hall of Fame who actually deserves to be there. I mean,
what?
In the Basketball Hall of Fame, they let anyone in.
Do they just add?
There's a ton of members that have no business being in any sort of Hall of Fame. I mean, Hall of Good, fine.
That's a good question, though. I truly don't know the answer. I assume, because like Lenny Wilkins was in as a player, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think he went in separately as a coach, did he? I think they just keep adding to your plaque.
I don't like that.
What do you mean?
Well, if he made it as a player, then he's a great coach, a Hall of Fame coach. Like WWE,
he should get it a second time.
Like
Flair's in as a member of the Four Horsemen. He's in on his own. He'll probably go in as a member of Evolution. Like he's like a 14-time Hall of Famer by the time it's all over.
So you want a separate ceremony for the coaching, like a ceremony as a player?
He's just saying it should be acknowledged. That's all. I think that's fair, right?
Several players have been inducted into the Hall of Fame twice, individually and as a team. So, like, if you're a part of the Dream Team, you're in
gets honored
as a member of the Dream Team.
But nothing on coaches?
Still looking.
I see here that John Wooden was inducted as a player in 1960 and then a coach in 73. Bill Russell inducted in 75 and 2021. So I guess you do get inducted separately. But this is also Google AI, which might be totally wrong.
Yeah, you can't
Wait, hold on. What? What's the
Google's
difference between
AI.
Google and Google AI.
AI is often wrong.
Oh.
And
so why are
often
you
giving
using
like
that?
very dangerous feedback.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But AI is supposed to be right, correct? I mean,
It's the answer.
is that the problem? I mean, Stugotz here. Summertime is here, which means travel season is upon us. If you're like me and love to travel during the warmer months, the first thing you worry about before traveling is, how safe will my home be while I'm away? I no longer worry about that now that I have Simply Safe installed in my home. I've had my Simply Safe system in place for several years now, and it's giving me such peace of mind. Simply Safe is advanced home security that puts you first. I have the wireless indoor camera. It allows me to see what's going on inside my home. They have a variety of indoor and outdoor cameras plus sensors to detect break-ins, fires, floods, and more. Simply Safe has been named in U.S. News and World Report's Best Home Security Systems for 5 years running and ranked the best customer service in home security by Newsweek and by Stugotz. Simply Safe has given me real peace of mind. I want you to have it too. Right now, get 20% off any Simply Safe system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/DLB. Again, get 20% off any new Simply Safe system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Don Batard.
For 5 minutes, I was watching everyone just like, nope, not letting you in, not letting you in. So when I got up there, I had to say something, and I said it. Cheaters never prosper.
Stugotz.
My buddy was saying not today.
Yeah, but you're
not today.
Okay, so
I think that was what he was adding. Yeah, that would have been so much better. But I'm telling you, the response I got from this guy, what I said was amazing.
He got him.
Cheaters never prosper. This guy yelled as angry as he could. I ain't cheating.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Chris asked me in my headset, imagine having 5 Kristaps Porzingises. You would never.
You say it about Horford all the time. So.
Well, by the way, speaking of Al Horford.
Boston's dream team.
My point is you would never have 5 healthy Porzingises.
Oh, that's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
You would never have a healthy lineup if you had 5. The thing with Porzingis is he's supposed to be a 1 or a 2. When he came into the league, he was supposed to be some sort of generational talent, and you see it in spurts, like last night. But he's never healthy. And so when Porzingis, a guy who came into the league, is supposed to be a 1 or a 2, and now he's your 5th option, you have a historic team, and that's what I've been saying about the Celtics the entire year.
Boston's been pretty deep all year, but by comparison to this Dallas Mavericks roster, I ventured in a couple of group chats. Like, I'm not saying he's the worst third leading scorer to ever make it to a finals. Hell, you may look at last year's Heat and have a good nominee. And certainly, whoever the third leading scorer was on the 07 Cavs is probably the answer. But Tim Hardaway Jr. is among the weakest third guys in the history of the sport to ever make it to the finals. And I know throughout the playoffs, he's kind of not been their third guy, and PJ has emerged as that third guy. But on the stats, he's third leading scorer on the team, and he's one of the weakest in NBA history.
Are you saying making it to the NBA Finals, just merely making it? Because I would say whoever the third guy on that Sixers team was.
Eric Snow was number 2.
It was Iverson, Snow, and I think Mutombo, right?
Mutombo. McKee was on there?
Yeah, Aaron McKee was on there. Tyrone Hill.
But Tim Hardaway is certainly like of that ilk. Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yes.
He's one of the weaker ones. And you see like how dependent Luka, and I know his conditioning has often been called into question, dude was sucking wind. Like 9 minutes into that game, he was incredibly tired. And from the mixtapes that I've seen put out on social media, it's not like he was doing a bunch of work defensively, but they were going at him, and that's extra energy. Luka, I mean, he always has these dimes, but he was facilitating like a monster. The problem is who he's passing it to, and Kyrie was just not good enough. Kyrie needs to be Super Saiyan Kyrie.
Yes.
They need Kyrie and Luka to do so much one-on-one that it makes it almost impossible against the Celtics defense. You know, we praise their offense. We praise what Porzingis was able to do. Porzingis playing in drop coverage last night was tremendous. And what Boston's able to do that a lot of other teams couldn't is they trust whatever 2 guys are being put in a pick and roll to figure it out themselves. And their other 3 defenders don't have to help off the rest of these players. And so Luka last night put up 30 points. He put up 10 rebounds.
I don't care.
He really didn't facilitate the ball as well as he's been able to the rest of this postseason.
Very few assists.
It's the things that we talk about.
He had
with
1
Jokic.
assist, guys.
Right. Well, no, that's the point.
1.
Right. They had 9 assists on 35 field goals as a team. So he and Kyrie were not able to facilitate the basketball and get the ball moving around the perimeter the way that where you see Boston, it'll be 4 quick passes and an open 3 in the corner. The Mavericks were not able to do that at all, and it's largely because Boston chose not to help off of Luka, and this is where you give Jaylen Brown a ton of credit. He was spectacular one-on-one against Luka Doncic last night on the defensive end, and that helped Boston get going offensively. He picked Luka's pocket a couple of times, getting them in transition. It was part of what allowed them to take that giant lead, and that's what makes Boston so good. They beat you down early, and they hold on to the lead.
This courtesy of Chris Forsberg of NBC Sports Boston. Luka Doncic, when 38-year-old Al Horford was the primary defender in Game 1 per NBA tracking. He was 1 of 8, 0 of 4 from 3. He needs to be better. Yeah. He was lousy, and he's lazy. I mean, play defense.
Lazy,
sprint back, play defense, rotate, stop leaving guys shooting open threes. He's lazy. He is lazy. And Kyrie Irving, the audacity of that guy to come out, who has lost 12 straight now to the Boston Celtics. Leader guy. I've changed, saying all the right things, doing all the right things, except when he steps on a court in Boston. That was an all-time lousy NBA Finals performance. He should be ashamed of himself. People call him one of the great offensive players of all time. Great handle, best handles. Oh, he's got handles. You know what he had? No threes last night. He was terrible, atrocious, and I don't expect them to rebound in Game 2 because I'm not confident in their coach. Wow. I'm not confident in Luka. I'm not confident in Kyrie. And again, for the 100th time, the Celtics, really good.
Let's mark this for the montage.
Yeah, I mean, 6 of 16 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, just 16 points. Oh, wait, sorry, that was Jayson Tatum.
Yeah, you would think that the hater in me would at least find solace in that Tatum wasn't very good. It's the earliest I've ever put out an APB for him.
He didn't have to be.
He didn't have to be.
Right.
He didn't have to be. And his performances in this postseason hasn't made it fun, like hating on Jayson Tatum, because I really haven't been, never, throughout, and I said it at the very beginning of this postseason, never have my mentions ever been flooded with a good Tatum performance that's like, eat your words. So I hope it comes at some point this postseason, but if this postseason has shown me anything, is he's not that guy, and that's okay. He does not need to be.
Not on this team. Right.
This is a very good Boston Celtics team. I know what I'm about to say may sound like I'm taking something away from them. They might very well win a championship in another year, but I'm watching this road that they're going through. I'm watching through the guys that they have to topple,
right?
That they have to test their mettle against, so they can finally reach the top of the mountain. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing because the teams and the path that they've taken to get there haven't been all that good, haven't been all that difficult. And the moments that I really want to see, the guy that everyone assumes is the best player on this team does not actually have to rise to the occasion because the summit is not that tall.
Jayson Tatum last night, if you want to be on the side that Mike is talking about, he had 3 points by the time they were up by 20. But you can also look at what he did offensively in setting the table for everybody else, and he was tremendous. Every decision that he had to make, he made the right decision in that first quarter to help them take the lead.
Right.
But when you only have 3 points at that point and you're supposed to be, as Stugotz says, you're the next Kevin Durant, you normally expect that guy to be the killer going out and scoring 15 points in that first quarter to take the lead. He did different things, and with this group, he's finally able to just be a table setter for everybody else with the attention that's brought to him.
I just want to see good ball. I don't want games like last night. That's not fun for anybody.
You want to see Jayson Tatum pushed at the end of a game.
I want to see
how he respond to the NBA Finals. I understand that. You're not going to get it, though. I mean, you're just not.
No, I don't think Dallas may not be the team to push him. I just honestly,
crazy.
I want good games. It can be the Pacers series as long as the games are good.
I want to hear from Billy on this.
Well,
though.
no, you guys they won by 18 and it wasn't that close. Like that score does not indicate how close that game was.
They got it to single digits
and you're
in the second half.
One player on the team that won by 18, and then you're already discrediting them winning a championship that they haven't won, saying, well, if they win, they didn't really face good enough teams, so this shouldn't really count.
Sports radio.
I guess I didn't do a good enough job in that I know what I was going to say is going to sound like I'm taking something away. They very well, if they were tested, they very well may have been the best team in the NBA. They were certainly the best team, the metrics would suggest, throughout the regular season. I just wanted to see them go through like a Denver, someone that is had that championship spirit, or gone through a team that presented different matchup problems. They're allowed to just totally bully Luka Doncic, and he's so great that he's going to get his offensive numbers, maybe not the assist numbers as you highlighted. I just want to see in this finals, I know Luka is great, I want to see him go shot for shot against somebody. I want to see a competitive series, and I don't think we're going to get that if Game 1's any indication.
Dallas can make adjustments to change what Boston has to do defensively. They did a little bit of that during that run in the third quarter, and realistically in that first half, their defense just looked lost against Boston, and they got blown out of the building early and had to do so much to try to come back against a team that, Stugotz, you mentioned the stat, 46-4?
46-4,
when they're up by 17 points.
Amazing, yes.
They're we've called them front runners, but I don't mean that pejoratively in this respect, where once they get that lead, they're very good at holding on to it. The one critique has been the end of games where you want to see Jayson Tatum or someone else close it out. But with Dallas, the reason I don't think this series is necessarily over is because there are so many adjustments that you can make from one game to the next. We've seen Boston lose game twos. We've seen Dallas win game twos. But after watching that first game, you do see the talent disparity after those first two players, the drop-off. It almost reminds me of what we've talked about in the Stanley Cup, where Edmonton has the potentially two best players, but after that, you would take everybody on Florida for the next 7 or 8.
Hyman would like a word.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, but Boston is a similar thing here where, maybe Luka and Kyrie individually you might take above anybody on their team.
I would go
but
Bouchard over
after
Hyman.
after that, Boston's got the next 5, 6, 7 players.
Who cares? They won by 18.
I'm not criticizing
it. What
They have 50 games where they had a 17-point lead this year.
Hand out Larry O'Brien trophies for who has the best 3 through 6.
I would like to see Joe Mazzulla be forced to make an adjustment, and I don't.
You're not going to see it this year.
It's just I'm counting on Jason Kidd and
I'd like
Joe
to see
Mazzulla.
Luka hustle.
Celtics have been bad in games too.
He's not hustling. Kyrie said after the game he thought the Boston Garden would be louder. Kyrie, they thought you'd be better.
Oh.
They thought the game would be closer. Jeremy talked about Dallas's defense. Drew Holiday after the game talked about the Celtics team defense.
The fact you guys have so many guys that can stay with him one-on-one, you don't have to double like teams have in the past. How much does that help in terms of keeping him from being able to have assists? They only obviously have one.
I think it helps a lot. Throwing different guys at him, different guys that play defense differently. Some aggressive, some not. But I think even our white guys guard. So it's hopefully it's a challenge on them, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
Even our white guys guard.
That's so good. Should I be laughing? What's the matter, Billy?
Nothing.
They sound like maniacs, don't they?
I know, it's fine.
It sounds like they think the series is over. I mean, because it's over. It is. The big story from last night's game, Jeremy, is this?
It just seems like Tatum gets more credit if they're not dominating because they're too good for Jayson Tatum to get credit.
Well, I would like for him to be a reason. Yeah, I'd like for it. Like, if they come out to a 20-point lead early on, this is a weird thing because they're a great team. And like I said, I have learned throughout this postseason that as ready as I was for the Jayson Tatum conversation and as ready as I was to be taken on like Tatum stands, like, he's just not that guy, pal. Like, and he does not need to be for them to win this championship. In previous years, he's had to be. That's how good this team is. That's how much better this team is than everybody they've faced so far.
But is part of it he's not that guy because he doesn't need to be that guy?
That's exactly the point that I made. See, Martin also. Yeah, he does not need to be that guy this year. He has had to be that guy.
So then you can't take away credit for him not being that guy.
No, I can just share my frustration in that I haven't seen it yet when it comes to him and who's the face of this championship team. He's going to be the default guy when really, from what I've seen so far, he's the third best player on the court for them.
Jaylen Brown will likely win Finals MVP if they win the NBA Finals, and that
There's
doesn't
3
take
games
away.
to go.
He's been their best player all postseason. This isn't, guys. Like, this is you're the one saying it's over,
Right.
And then
There's 3 games to go. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
yes.
but Jaylen Brown has been their best player all postseason. That's not taking anything away from Jayson Tatum and what he's been able to do. Last night, I mentioned already, the table setting that he did for the rest of the team.
And don't forget, he set the table plenty for Dallas, too, with those turnovers.
But this is obviously, like, what we're talking about is obviously coming from the slanted Heat perspective of guys who have watched Jayson Tatum the last few years go up against the Miami Heat, trying to be a number one, feeling that level of frustration when he doesn't close things out late in games, the things that Juju has mentioned on the show about him not closing things out late in games, and then getting to this scenario where you see a team go through a relatively easy postseason in the Eastern Conference and now get to the NBA Finals where Tatum doesn't have to be the number one guy. By the way, that doesn't take away from all of the special things that he's able to do. I think this is just through the prism of this is a guy who has been painted as a next Kevin Durant, someone who was so close with Kobe, who wants to have that killer Mamba mentality. And I think what he does on the basketball floor personally is really impressive.
Jeremy, I'm sorry.
2 minutes.
For what? What do you
Minor
do?
penalty, 2 minutes, rambling.
I mean, Tatum's going to have a game in this series. You got to.
In Stugotz's perspective, he might be the next Kevin Durant. He wins a title for something that he didn't do.
There you go, Billy. Thank you. Stugottsbook.com. Check it out. The big story, though, Chris Cody, I was surprised that he was so outraged by this, was Stephen A. Smith's entrance into the arena last night.
Not outraged, just like baffled. Let's put it up here. We have the B-roll of it. It is just... He knows what he's doing. ESPN is the one filming him here. Like, they put this out on ESPN. It's almost like he has like what looks like a bodyguard with him, just waiting for them to hit this so that we can talk about it. Yes, look at this. He's just, I don't know why this bothers me so much. Does he have a limp? Is his
he
leg
has a
hurt?
strut. That's what he has, yes.
Like,
yes.
it's just... I've watched this thing 20 times because he loves the attention. He gives someone a watch, but he's about to do a wave back.
Mm-hmm.
Someone says, hey, Stephen A., there you go, a little wave to somebody. Oh, I don't know why. This is just so polarizing.
Well, why does it bother you?
It doesn't bother me. It's just...
It seems
That's
to
a
bother
security
you.
detail, yeah?
Right.
He has security. That's his body guy, right?
If I'm Stephen A. Smith, I would have a bodyguard.
He looks great. Why? Like, I'm not criticizing.
His bodyguard is carrying his bag.
Yes.
Really?
Man, it's just this. I want to watch this for the rest of the
I
time.
think the only thing that bothers me is that his credential's not visible.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, because he's Stephen A. Everyone knows who he is. I mean,
wait, if we can loop it one more time, I think not only does his bodyguard have to carry his bag, but I think he also has to wear Stephen A.'s credential as well.
Well,
there might be two credentials on there.
There might be.
When you're Stephen A., you don't need identification. I mean, seriously, when a cop pulls him over, he doesn't ask for his license.
I'm feeling bad about this. He might just have a hurt knee because, like, from the front, it just looks like he has swag. But when he gets level with the camera, like right about, it just looks like he's limping. Like from the side, it's a limp. From the front, it is just a strut.
I think he knows what he's doing.
I love it. I respect it. Like, I'm not hating on it. I don't know what I feel about it.
Right.
It's not negative. It's not positive. This is a guy, man. He knows what he's doing. This is something.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Dan Batard.
We didn't get to your guys' against the spread.
You're right. Yeah.
I don't have it against the spread because I wasn't prepared for this segment.
You need an Ian in your life.
You have actively played defense against me today in a way that has rarely been this undercutting.
Stugotz.
Defense wins championships, baby. That's show business.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Steve Goldstein, the voice of the Panthers, is going to join us from the arena in about 20 minutes or so. We'll have Amin and Charlotte on from Boston. We have the Schefters on, and Billy just puked into a waste container here.
It wasn't puke. I coughed, and it was as we were getting counted down to start live. I coughed, and I had some mucus in my throat.
Yes.
As soon as the microphones turned on, and I went and I disposed of it into the wastebasket. I disposed of it from my mouth into the basket.
Okay.
It wasn't puke, though.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. The timing was not great at all.
Are you excited? Because today we release a big episode of God Bless Football.
Yeah.
You had a chance encounter with Adam Schefter's mom a few weeks ago on a cruise.
Shirley.
And the Schefters join us today on God Bless Football.
Yeah, we talked to Shirley, and Jeff was just kind of hanging out in the background, so we invited him in also.
Oh, it's his dad?
Yeah.
I was assuming for some reason it was Adam and his mom. So
No, Adam's not on the episode. Just mom and dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeff Schefter. You'll be shocked to find out, spoiler alert, Stugotz offered both of them paying jobs. So
checking in with the Schefters.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They were so lovable. They were so nice. I want to check in with the Schefters on a weekly basis.
When nice to you, you don't offer to pay them to do work when you have no intention of paying them to do work. That's not how you treat people who are nice to you.
But we are having lunch in Boynton Beach. I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
That I also am willing to bet will never happen.
Some bagels, little tuna
Why
fish.
do you promise people anything?
Billy, I would love, I'm serious, on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, nothing would bring me more happiness than going to have a little brunch with the Schefters.
And this is why you're so interesting, because I believe you.
Right.
And you still won't go.
And has no intention of doing it.
It's a long drive. I mean.
The thing that'll oddly bring him more happiness is just not going. Saying that he will go. And then
finding my way out.
Not going. And not for a particular reason or anything. He just doesn't go.
When you find that reason that you're like, this will work.
Oh, God.
You're just like an overcommitter. Like you,
I am.
You can have
You're
a
right.
pleasant experience
Fair.
with someone and that be the end of it.
Yep.
And then maybe you have another. But like anytime you have like a good experience with anyone, you want to like, let me ask you this.
Okay.
You strike me as someone that went on like a good first date and like, I'm getting married to this person, like right away.
Or falling in love with a stripper.
Yep.
There's a loud laugh I heard through the
Did you
glass.
see? There's a strip club, a gentleman's club in Las Vegas that is getting sued by the Spearmint Rhino, and the name of the gentleman's club is the Peppermint Hippo.
Oh,
you can understand why the lawsuit came about.
Mm-hmm. Are you wondering which one I confirmed there, Chris? Or
can't compete with the Rhino?
So the Schefters on God Bless Football.
Yeah, check it out if you want. If not, cool. Live your life.
I want to talk about doors with Lucy.
What?
Doors. The holding of doors. Because I went to the Sphere. It's a very dangerous game, holding doors. Because occasionally you go to a place, like I went to the Sphere, I was staying at the Venetian Hotel, and a busy casino is a very dangerous place to hold a door. Because I was holding a door, and it was hot outside. It's 110 in Vegas today, by the way. But it was hot outside. And I held the door open for a nice couple that was walking through. But because the nature of casinos are, you never know when a large pack is going to come walking through there. It could be in the morning. It could be any time. During any single day in Las Vegas, I found myself outside. My intention when I held the door open was I would hold it for a minute or so for this one couple that was walking towards the door. So I did it. They thanked me. They walked through the door. And then a group of 15 came by right after them. And I kept holding the door. And then another group came by, and another group came by, and another group came by. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, A, this is not my job. B, when do I shut the door? C, should I start asking for tips? It is a very dangerous game, Lucy, holding open doors.
It's also a dangerous game because you run the risk of not holding a door open for me. Ever since I have moved to Miami, I have become less of a nice person, less kind. And it has started to consume me a little bit.
Right.
So when I hold the door for someone, which I always do, if there is not too long, like if you're a while away, I'm not going to hold the door open for you. That just makes them uncomfortable.
Where's the line on that, right? That's the whole thing here.
Right. Well,
if I can I don't know, if you're within 15 seconds of being at the door, then I'll hold it for you. But I don't want you to have to feel like you need to, do the little walk run to come to the door.
15 seconds is plenty. That's far away.
And it's also if it's an older woman or something, then you're like, you know what, I want to help you out. But I always, you can tell when they look old. So I will hold the door. And if you do not say thank you,
oh boy,
I will follow you and say, hey, you're welcome for holding the door.
Really?
Really?
Every time.
Always, or that's just a now thing?
It's happened, I've done it a bit before, but it's become more recent. It happened to me actually not in Miami. When I was in Oregon, this guy, he had his hands full. He had a drink and his lunch, and he needed someone to hold the door open for him. I said, no problem. So I hold the door open for him, and he doesn't say thank you. And then there's another door, and I open and hold the other door for him because he doesn't have the hands to go through, and he doesn't say thank you. And it pissed me off so much.
It should.
That I was like, hey, you're welcome.
Wow.
And he didn't say anything back. Also, if you let the door hit me, I'll say, hey, thanks for holding the door.
Wow.
Because you should just say thank you. And you should just hold the door for people because it's a kind, nice thing to do.
Right.
And it's not something that people really do here, and it makes me super angry. So I catch myself yelling at strangers all the time.
Is this a thank you thing, or this is specific for door holding?
It's a courtesy thing.
Are there other thank you situations that you require a thank you, or is it just doors?
I don't know. Doors are the most common one, but I remember when I was a server, obviously you can't say it because you want a tip, but if people wouldn't say thank you, that would really piss me off. Just if you're doing something even a slightly out of your way. a little kind for someone, you should say thank you.
If you sneeze and someone doesn't give you like a bless you or gesundheit or something, does that bother you? Okay.
I don't care about that either.
Yeah, I don't care about that. But like holding the door.
I would say chasing them down the hall until they say thank you is a tad aggressive.
Oh, they never
I
say
just
it.
do it as they're walking in, and I realize they haven't said thank you. I'm like, hey, you're welcome.
Yeah,
you know?
like that one guy that was a little aggressive,
Right.
And he was like a little bit younger than me. And so I was like, someone didn't teach you to do this, so I'm gonna do it. But like usually I'm not chasing them down so much as when they go out the door, I'm like, hey, you're welcome.
Wow.
For holding the door.
People are crazy here, though. Like, you're aware of that, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I not only don't want somebody to say God bless me when I sneeze. I literally don't get mad at them if they don't do it. I don't want them to do it.
Why?
Because I
You
don't
don't
want
want
people to
God's
notice when I
blessings?
sneeze. I like to go like if I feel like I sneeze, then you're thinking to yourself, ew, that's gross. You just sneezed.
Plus, sneezing has changed since COVID.
I don't want anyone to
It
acknowledge my
has.
sneeze.
I will run into my house and hide when I have to sneeze. I mean, I'm serious.
That's not true.
Not true at all.
I mean, if I'm on a plane, I won't do that. I'll just let it out. But I try to stifle sneezes now more than ever. No, seriously, I try to go hide when I have to sneeze. Billy, I sneeze in
But
here.
on a plane
Billy,
of all
you-
places,
but
in an
you-
enclosed place, you'll let it out.
You can't hide
I have
there.
to. Yeah,
you can't
I mean,
hide. Where are you gonna go?
You can do the thing where I've popped blood vessels because I've like held my like in a sneeze situation. I'll like hold my nose and I'll hold my mouth, like my mouth will be closed, and I'll just like, and I'm like, wow, this is like how I would imagine you get like an ulcer or something.
I've never
in your
tried
brain.
that actually. Just close all the holes.
Don't do it. It's
Right.
not great.
It's like SpongeBob.
It
in the
has to
Suds
explode
episode.
somewhere. Yeah, it goes somewhere, man. I'm telling
All
you.
of a sudden, it's coming out of your ears.
But Billy, you're a hypochondriac. Like you're at the
Not
doctor's
diagnosed.
office every other day. I feel
No,
like
I've gotten better.
I know, but if I sneezed in the studio right now, you would judge me. You would be like, "Go outside, do it somewhere else."
Yeah, but
I'm telling you, sneezing's changed.
You'd sneeze in a gross fashion.
I thought it was coughing that's changed. Like,
sneezing.
Sneezing, we can
Yeah.
Coughing's bad. My thing with sneezing is I kind of have like an embarrassing sneeze. It's really high pitch. It kind of sounds like a cat, and I always do it 3 times.
I do multiple sneezes
It's
too.
3
Every single
times,
time,
every
it's
single
more
time.
than one.
Roy
Always.
does like 8 in a row.
Really?
Remember Roy? Like if Roy sneezes once, he literally will sneeze 7 times.
Jess has a crazy sneeze.
Jess's sneeze is insane.
Yeah.
It is rare where I go past 2 sneezes. That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's rare that I stop at 2. I always go past 2.
Billy has told me my sneezes smell.
Yeah, sneezes definitely smell.
Oh, all of them do? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought.
No, a lot of people's sneezes smell. It's
I
not
just remember
you.
one time at the old studio. This is probably 5 years ago. I sneezed and Billy's like, "Ooh, I smell that."
Yeah, it's
and
not
I've been
just
self-conscious.
You.
Of
No,
it
it's not
ever
just you.
since.
I can smell other people's sneezes. Like if you sneeze out like the spit
I'm
or
so
whatever.
relieved right now.
No, yeah, it's not a you thing. Don't. I'm sorry that you felt that way.
Been
It's not-
hanging on
it's
to that
not
for
you.
half a decade.
I honestly think of Billy almost every time I sneeze now. I'm like, "Ooh, who's smelling this?"
It's not you. It's not you. I smell a lot of people's sneezes. It's the grossest smell in the world. But it's not just you. And I'm sure my sneeze smells to other people. It's like farts. Like you don't smell your own fart. You're like, yeah, whatever. But if other people fart, you're like, that's disgusting.
Yes. I enjoy the smell of my farts.
I mean, everyone does. That's
I guess.
crazy.
I don't think everyone does.
You're weird if you don't.
I disagree.
Have you not seen Austin Powers?
Is that what we're using?
Everyone loves their own
to
brand.
settle this debate.
How'd your door story end? You just walked away?
Oh, wow, what happened?
Breaking news, folks. We have confirmed you can go in to the Hall of Fame as both a player and a coach, according to Jason Jackson, who was
All
watching
right.
the program this morning.
Wow. Why?
Don't know.
Why is he watching?
Shout out to Jax.
Why is he helping us?
Yeah.
What'd you ask me, by the way?
How'd your door story end? I feel
with
like
me
the
holding the
movies-
door forever.
No, but I feel
mean-
like the movies, you just like you start slowly walking away, and your hand starts like sliding off the edge of the door. Then someone that's coming will like step in and grab it.
There's like an
I
eye
am poking
contact
eye,
you
I'm
make
sorry.
with somebody that's like, all right, we're passing this door off.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly
here we go.
right.
Yep, up.
Hand it off like a baton.
There was no one to pass it off to. I
That's
was
impossible.
At some point, you just let it go.
There are a bunch of people with no arms. How is this possible?
I was at a dead show. I mean, it was 8:30 in the morning. There was no one out there but me. I went out to have a heater, and
well,
the
there
next thing I knew was
people
the
out there more
doorman.
than just you. You're holding doors.
Yeah,
for
but they were
everybody.
tourists. You know, people go to Vegas.
So
they
were
do the
you.
strip. They go from hotel to hotel to hotel, hotel. Listen, people, I got news for you. They all look the same. They all have casinos. They all have slot machines, and they're all a waste of time and your money. All right? I mean, seriously. And I held the door, and I held it for a good 20 minutes.
That's not even remotely close.
A
to
good
true.
10 minutes.
Not even
Seconds?
It was about a minute.
I don't
Don't believe
that's
that.
true.
No, it was definitely
15
a minute.
seconds sounds like a long time that you wait for.
That's what I was
someone to get
saying.
it.
Right.
That's
I stuck my hand out at one point.
15 seconds is like 3 first-rounders. 40.
What's going on with tennis, Mike?
Sinner's playing out of his mind right now.
Is he?
Yeah. Alcaraz is threatening to make this a game, but Sinner's like a cyborg. I mean,
some guys are different on that clay. We know that. You and I know that.
But it's not like Alcaraz is bad on that.
Right.
And Sinner, like both these guys would be going for their first French Open.
Right.
I can't imagine how pissed off guys like Roddick, Isner, and Fish are watching this tournament right now, knowing that Federer, Nadal's out of the way, and Djokovic had to withdraw because of his knee injury. It's so wide open.
They finally cleared out?
Yeah, it's so wide open. That's why guys like Wawrinka and Murray are still playing, because I've waited my entire career for these guys to be out of the way.
Yes.
I'm not just going to hang it up the second that they do.
You're right. Roddick was Sinner, essentially, but Sinner has much easier paths to win these Grand Slams than Roddick ever had. Talking tennis. We're going to have Steve Goldstein on. We're going to have Amin and Charlotte on from Boston as well. I don't know what we talked to them about because the series started and ended last night. I mean, they can go home.
Who's your MVP?
My MVP?
Yeah.
Porzingis.
I hate what you've done, Billy.
What I do? I'm just talking sports.
The MVP is the GM, Brad Stevens.
Actually, yeah, that's
for putting together that kind of roster. And so what we do in sports
Could you
radio,
imagine if that's what happens?
if he wins the MVP, he
Adam
should.
Silver
The first
just hands
GM
it
to
to the
ever
GM.
win the MVP.
That would be great.
But rather, and listen, I've made a career out of it, rather than give Jayson Tatum any sort of credit, what we'll do is we'll say that Luka stunk. Stugotz here. Summertime is here, which means travel season is upon us. If you're like me and love to travel during the warmer months, the first thing you worry about before traveling is, how safe will my home be while I'm away? I no longer worry about that now that I have Simply Safe installed in my home. I've had my Simply Safe system in place for several years now, and it's given me such peace of mind. Simply Safe is advanced home security that puts you first. I have the wireless indoor camera. It allows me to see what's going on inside my home. They have a variety of indoor and outdoor cameras plus sensors to detect break-ins, fires, floods, and more. Simply Safe has been named in U.S. News and World Report's best home security systems for 5 years running and ranked the best customer service in home security by Newsweek and by Stugotz. Simply Safe has given me real peace of mind. I want you to have it too. Right now, get 20% off any Simply Safe system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/DLB. Again, get 20% off any new Simply Safe system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
At the Coca-Cola Company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and PepsiCo, our bottles might still look the same, but some of them can be remade in a whole new way, using 100% recycled plastic. New bottles made using no new plastic except the caps and labels. You'll be seeing more of these new bottles in more places, and that's thanks to you, because when we get more bottles back, we can use less new plastic. Learn how our bottles are made to be remade at madetoberemade.org.